As lawmakers in Nevada are now together in Carson City for the 2023 legislative session, lawmakers in Hawaii are also in session debating new laws.
One bill up for debate tomorrow morning would directly impact Nevada. Kim Passoff live outside the California tonight to explain.
So many people from Hawaii visit or move to Las Vegas. It has become known as the ninth island. But one bill before the Hawaii State Legislature is trying to change that. The goal, to cut tourism to casinos just like this one.
And I just can't say enough good things about the most amazing guests in the world.
That is what the general manager of the California told our sister station from Hawaii as the casino filled with University of Hawaii fans before the UNLV University of Hawaii game in 2021.
At the Cal, it's like being home because everywhere you look, it's just people from the islands.
And despite people from Hawaii repeatedly winning big in Vegas, a Hawaii state senator wants to block Nevada casinos from advertising to them. Senator Stanley Chang, a Democrat from Honolulu, wants to prohibit advertisements for Nevada hotels and resorts with casinos or gaming devices from being on TV, in printed publications, and even in online ads anywhere in Hawaii. In the bill, the Hawaii lawmaker argues Aloha State residents generate hundreds of millions of dollars, perhaps billions, in economic activity in other jurisdictions related to gambling, and in return, Hawaii receives no benefit. According to the bill, Hawaii residents take an estimated 300,000 trips to Las Vegas and other gambling destinations each year, and operators like Boyd Gaming, who owns the Cal, reap the rewards. Boyd Gaming sent Fox 5 this response. Boyd opposes this proposed legislation as we believe it raises several constitutional concerns. First, commercial speech is clearly protected under the First Amendment. Additionally, federal law prohibits states from introducing laws that discriminate against interstate commerce. We have provided testimony to the Hawaii Senate committee considering this bill that outlines these concerns. Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman also weighing in, saying, quote, Las Vegas is loved as a vacation and business destination, and we have a special place in our heart for our Hawaiian friends and ohana. After all, Las Vegas is known as the ninth island. I'd be surprised that the people of Hawaii would support such a bill since commercial speech is protected. In addition to banning casino ads, the bill would also impose a 30% tax on vacation packages that promote gambling. Reporting in downtown, Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
And that legislation proposes a fine of an unspecified amount for violators. A hearing for the bill is set for tomorrow morning.